We don't want any quiet Christians over here. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever the Holy Spirit puts us across your timeline. We are still in our Bible promises, so let's get it. And I'm starting to start about, I'm not always a fan of the Bibles that claim to use the most standard or basic or the to be the line where like, oh, we use the proper English here. So you have like the English Standard Version, you have the Christian Standard Bible, you have the New International Version, because that idea is we're using the international English that's used in business. You have the, of course, New American Standard Bible. Like, why do we have standard in so many of our titles? But I would be lying to say that some of these translations, though, in using the quote-unquote standard language, do get very poetic, and I love how that reads. In all honesty, if you ever catch me on the street, I will happily stand there and talk to you about how I believe the King James Version is one of the most inaccurate Bibles out there. That being said, I am a black man who grew up in a Baptist church, so I also understand just how poetic the King James Bible is. I'm off topic today, sort of, not really, because this goes into, as we've been studying Bible promises, like I said, on my document that was given to me from Bible study, my pastor normally uses the New American Standard Bible, and I generally use the New Living Translation. And today was one of those days where, like, as I'm looking at both translations, for obviously the content I make here, NASB was just more poetic, and I was just like, I just felt it more in my spirit reading it through the NASB. And this is why I always tell people, when I worked at a Christian bookstore years ago, I always tell people, don't just stick to one translation. You always want to have multiple translations so you can, again, get the full context, because context is important. But anyway, I rambled for like 2 minutes now, so let's get into it. So, Romans 10, 9 and 10. NASB says that if you confess with your mouth Jesus as Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with a heart a person believes, resulting in righteousness, and with the mouth he confesses, resulting in salvation. Then NLT said, if you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is by believing in your heart that you are made right with God, and it is by openly declaring your faith that you are saved. And I went ahead and bolded and highlighted what stood out to me, because you have confess, obviously, most people generally know what the word confess means, but it helps to have NLT say openly declare, like you are making a proclamation. What I loved and I highlighted is believe in your heart that God raised from the dead, you will be saved. It's the same in both. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. Believe in your heart that God raised from the dead, you will be saved, right? Like, it's the same in both translations. But I love this because for with the heart a person believes, resulting in righteousness. And not too many people always know what righteousness means, which is why NLT breaks it down for you. Made right with God. That's what righteousness means, that you are in right standing with God. And then from there, that you confess with your mouth results in salvation. That you openly declare, again, right? The NLT loves the openly declare part, your faith, that you will be saved. And there was something else that stood out to me today, was the difference between being made right with God and the difference between being saved. Just stood out to me because most of the time when I am talking, or any of us are talking about salvation, we generally make those two synonymous. But here in Romans, Paul is specifically saying that they are slightly different. So it brings to mind the question, can you be made right with God? Can you have right standing with God and still not be saved? That is a tough question. And when I asked that question, the Holy Spirit led me to James chapter 2, verse 19 and verse 20. Because James will say it like this: you believe that God is one, you do well. The demons also believe and shudder. But are you willing to acknowledge, you foolish person, that faith without works is useless? And in NLT, you say you have faith, for you believe that there is one God. Good for you. Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. How foolish. Can't you see that faith without good deeds is useless? Now, I gave you both verses because I didn't want to just use only verse 19, because again, context matters. Context is important. And I didn't want to remove the fact that James is specifically in this chapter talking about while you believe, your belief should bring out some good works in you. So, with giving you the full context and looking back at Romans, I would make the argument here that in Romans, confessing, not being quiet, telling people about God, about your belief, about your faith, is the good works that result in salvation. So today's Bible promise is a promise that does take some work on our part. Ask yourself this question: what opportunities do I have to openly share my faith? I said this channel wasn't going to be about evangelism, but here we are. The Holy Spirit had different plans. Openly declaring is not always about being a corner preacher. And don't get me wrong, those who do that, there is some success within that. But openly declaring just means basically, are you living your life in such a way? Are your actions expressing in such a way that you have been changed and that you do believe? For example, you have some friends at work who want to go out on a Sunday morning for breakfast, right? And they invite you. Are you telling them, no, I can't go because I have church? Or are you just saying, no, I can't go because I already have other plans? How do you walk? How do you talk? Does your life express through your actions that you believe? Heart change is first, and then it becomes time to express it. Believe it, and then speak it. But that's it for me today. If the Lord wants us to, we will see each other again, and then we will continue to seek the good news of the Holy Spirit together. Love y'all. Peace.